Welcome to the Real Academy, brought to you each Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time by
the Resilience DoctHers,
Dr. Sheikah Houston and Dr. Tammy Taylor, best-selling authors, consultants, and speakers of Create and Educate LLC. Create and Educate LLC is an educational consultant and literary firm that provides professional development to schools and community. Their goal is to transform organizations with the REALL resilient framework used to increase their school report card grades 2 and 3 grade levels in 1 year. REALL stands for Respect, Excellence, Accountability, Literacy, and Leadership. This framework is used to coach leaders and teachers and build student efficacy while putting systems in place that aligns the work of the school improvement, making the process manageable. When the work is manageable, teachers and leaders don't stress out or burn out.
The Resilience DoctHers.
Alignment systems are designed to help schools evolve and grow, all while instituting protocols and processes designed to promote collaboration and collegiality. The implementation of the alignment framework prevents some of the most common problems in education, where leaders sometimes aren't sure where to start, or in our new age of educating, leaders need a trusted sounding board that allows them to be vulnerable and transparent, preventing loneliness at the top. The framework doesn't just help leaders, but also prevents teachers from burning out from too many initiatives and embracing teachers as they are the experts. Finally, the framework extends to the children, helping them get engaged in school and solving a nationwide problem. Alignment systems are frequently referred to as a key element of success in the improvement process. In the sport of rowing, all rowers must put their oars in the water, succinctly creating a system for their boat to reach maximum speed. So schools that want to improve are bringing in
the Resilience DoctHers
to teach them all about the alignment systems that must be in place for school improvement to be accomplished at high levels. The dynamic duo provides insights into educational topics through their international platform, which includes educators, parents, and community members as a way to support important entities that make communities thrive. This is their way to pay it forward and provide the support they needed through their platform. Take a look. People who work with
the Resilience
describe them as an
DoctHers.
excellent and inspiring group of leaders. They get into the weeds of work with leaders through their TrustMate Institute that you should contact them about today by filling out the contact form on their website.
It's Super Saturday, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Real Academy, brought to you by Create and Educate with your very own Resilience DoctHers. I'm Dr. Sheikah Houston.
Hello, everyone, and I'm Dr. Tammy Taylor. We have spent the last several episodes talking with you about creating synergy, from the welcome back letter to the first day of school to building classroom community. Today, we're going to be taking it to the people who sustain all of that work, leaders and teacher leaders. So, because when leaders and teacher leaders cultivate synergy throughout a building, a school doesn't simply function. A school can actually thrive. So today's episode is when leaders cultivate synergy, schools thrive. Building leaders and teacher leaders who move the work.
Absolutely, Tammy. And if this is your first time joining us, welcome. So after improving our schools, and you may be wondering who we are, improving our school report card grades 2 and 3 levels in 1 year, that led us on a path with Create and Educate, where we transform schools from the inside out by aligning people, culture, and systems through the REALL framework, and that's real with two L's that you see at the top of the pane and over our shoulders, the Synergy Lab that we've been talking about for the entire season this month and for a few months actually, and proven school improvement systems that help leaders build resilient schools where students thrive and educators love to work.
Yes, that's why our Synergy Lab is so important to this work.
Absolutely. There's a lot of components to the Synergy Lab, and they really help to develop that self awareness, that team awareness, generational awareness, help identify emotional triggers. Because before we can lead others well, we definitely need to understand how we show up.
That's for sure.
Absolutely. So, leadership development without self awareness can create people who know leadership strategies but don't understand their impact on people. And that matters because how we show up definitely changes everything.
Chica, that is a word. You hear me? And I should start saying amen, amen, amen. Because if you can't bring us into your school, we do want you to know that we are absolutely committed to us bringing school improvement to you every single week, and that's why we're here. Through our free Fantastic Four PD, we've impacted over 300,000 educators and approximately 7 million students. Join us every Super Saturday at 10 a.m. We begin with Principal Sean Hurt, our brother in this work. And we want to just take a moment to shout out Principal Sean Hurt, who is absolutely an incredible supporter. And we just want you to know how much we appreciate you, Principal Hurt. At 10:30, Shika and I follow in the Real Academy. And then at 11 o'clock on this Super Saturday, we're followed by the GOAT, the leader of leaders, all things leadership in the AP and New Principals Academy with Principal Baruti Kafele. And then do not forget to join on Sunday PGP Podcast and Dr. Marty Moreno and Principal Josh Tovar.
Absolutely. And please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, send the stars, do all of the things that the platforms do. And you know, we always say please and thank you. So, normally, of course, we would do our real shout outs, but Tammy is attending a service. And I know you probably want to give some condolences, Tammy.
Yes, I absolutely do. To Kim, Kurt, Angela, Alex, everybody, all of y'all, we're praying, and I will be right there to support you during this really, really difficult time. Just and for all of you who pray, just remember my family in prayer, please.
Absolutely. So condolences to everyone impacted. And so that will take us to our announcements. Last week we were in Detroit and Prince George County, Maryland. So shout out to those schools. We had a phenomenal time at both of them. So thank you all for having us. And we will still be in Nova Scotia, Canada in October. And I haven't put this up yet, but I'll announce it in a minute. So, Coach Fest is in November. We're excited about that. And also, still make sure you're tuning in to Parents Are First Teachers. But our proposal for NAPSB was also accepted. So, we are excited that we'll be attending that in December. So that brings us to our episode. And if you haven't already put that, you know that we always start off letting us know what kept you resilient in the work this week. So if you would put that in the comments, what kept you resilient in the work this week? There's lots of things going on, and you definitely always need something to keep you resilient in the work. So here's a question for our principals today. If you were out of your building for a week, would the work continue? Not just the schedule, not just lunch duty, not just dismissal, but would the vision continue? Would people continue to solve problems? Would teachers continue holding one another accountable? Would your school improvement priorities continue moving? And if everything stops because the principal is not there, you may have created followers. But have you created leaders?
I love that, Shika, because that's the conversation. That is what we need to be talking about today. Because a thriving school cannot depend on one person to provide all the leadership that's needed. You need administrators, you need instructional coaches, you need department chairs, you need grade level chairs, and you need teacher leaders, because leadership is not just a title. Leadership is influence, and it would behoove some people to take notice of that. Mm.
Absolutely,
The
Tammy.
Bible says Selah. We're going to say, think about that. So we're going to start with our first point, and that is building followers. You're not wanting to build followers. You're going to have to stop that. You're going to have to start building leaders. So we're going to stop building followers and start building leaders. Sometimes when we don't even realize it, leaders will create a culture where people have to come to them for every single decision that has to be made in the school. Nobody can make a decision without coming to check with you first. Well, you better ask the principal. I don't know. You better wait till the principal gets here. We're going to have to wait, press pause. We need to get the principal's approval. Eventually, the principal becomes the bottleneck.
Absolutely, Tammy. And then we wonder why leaders are exhausted. You cannot be the vision keeper, the problem solver, the instructional leader, the disciplinarian, the parent liaison, the culture builder, the staff motivator, and answer every small question in the building. That isn't sustainable leadership. That leadership fatigue is waiting to happen, and strong leaders develop other leaders.
Child.
So now we're going to move on to point 2. Teacher leadership is a school improvement strategy. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. Teacher leadership is a school improvement strategy.
Yes, it is.
It is absolutely one of the main ones. So, one of the greatest untapped resources in many schools is sitting in classrooms right now, and that is your teachers. Some teachers have tremendous influence. Some are natural problem solvers, and some build relationships effortlessly. Some understand data. They are phenomenal instructional practitioners, and some can rally the people. Some and many are excellent mentors. So you should know who they are, but if you don't, find them, develop them, and use their strengths and empower them.
Yes. Help them with that, what we were just talking about with being a part of that decision making. Make sure they know that you support good decisions, and you will, again, as you're cultivating that, help them to make decisions that are sound and based on what's right for children. And honestly, teacher leadership, I mean, if we're thinking about it, we just have to be real. When you're thinking about teacher leadership, that does not speak to, you are going to have to offer them some sort of title, or you're going to have to create some different way to refer to them. You're the grade level team chair. Yeah, you're the grade level team chair. That's a great place to have a person on the leadership team represented by the grade level team chair. But you know what? You don't have to be a team chair. It does not mean that you have to be anything other than a teacher leader. It can mean giving someone just that opportunity to lead, y'all. You have to cultivate that leadership in people. Allow them to lead POTs, allow them to mentor new teachers. It doesn't have to be formal through your district's mentoring program, but create your own mentorship within your schools. Facilitate strategy sessions. Allow them to demonstrate the things that they are really good at. Help analyze problems. You have some teachers who are excellent at problem solving. They can think things through in a way that you can't. Utilize them. Let them help you. Let them lead those family engagement activities. Some of those folks will create the initiative and carry it out because that is what their strength actually is. And what you do is capitalize on where their strengths lie. Share an instructional practice. This can be something that you allow almost any teacher in your building to do when you are cultivating strong instruction in your school buildings. And when you give people meaningful opportunities to contribute, you communicate to them your expertise in this building makes a difference. So
Absolutely.
you have to be able to think about, and don't you think, Shika, when you're thinking through those things, um, it which could take us straight into our third point, because the third point actually is synergy happens when leadership strengths complement each other. And that's what I was getting ready to ask you, Shika. Don't you think is you've experienced the most success when there was an awareness, and you had an awareness about who you were working with, and that self-awareness is what was important when you were empowering the people who were working around you?
Absolutely, Tammy. When we started our school improvement journey, that's exactly what I asked the staff to do. I need y'all's help. I can't do this by myself. I
Mhm.
need you all to be a part of this journey with me so that we can see if these things that we've come up with are going to actually improve the school. And with that empowerment, they took ownership of it. And that's what I needed.
Yes, same. Everybody doesn't lead the same way. And I think we shouldn't expect that they would. You want to have someone who is a visionary, but you also have to have somebody that's an executor, because if everybody is always dreaming about what's going to happen, guess what? Nothing is ever going to happen. So
That's true.
you need somebody who's going to pull the trigger and execute. Like, let's get this done. Then you
Mhm.
need somebody who's there cultivating and building those relationships, making sure that nobody's feelings are hurt, nobody has felt left out. You need somebody in there who is creating the kind of synergy that we're talking about, that makes you feel like you're a part of the team. You have people who you can rely on to do that. You have people whose gift is the gift of relations. And so
Mm-hmm.
they can pick up on something that you completely missed, but they saw the sullen look that the teacher had when they felt so deflated. You need to be able to rely on those people who are relationship builders and learn how to cultivate relationships on your own. You need people who can see the detail and make sure that those details are with precision in a way that is presented to everybody so we're all on the same page. Details, and people say that the details is where all of the work either comes together or it falls apart. And that's the truth, because
Mm-hmm.
if the details are not precise, then you have people who get flustered because everything's out center and out of whack. You're like, oh my gosh, oh, this is such a mess. And you don't want that. You need those people who can make sure that every I is dotted and every T is crossed, and you rely on them to get that done. And I'm gonna tell you what else we don't often enjoy having, but you need the questioner,
Mm-hmm.
because somebody has to ask the question that everyone else has missed. And for some people, their gift is questioning. Now, most people are aggravated by it and it gets on their nerves. I had learned to lean into the people who I knew the questions were going to come from. And that was
Mm-hmm.
a way to help me to make sure that I was thinking through every aspect of what had to happen in order for us to move forward.
Absolutely. I did the same thing, Tammy. And sometimes we become frustrated because someone doesn't lead the same way that we do. But what if their difference is exactly what the team needs? And in my case, it was what I needed. And that is what synergy is. Synergy says, I don't need you to become me. I need you to understand your strengths, understand my strengths, and figure out how our strengths work together. That's why our Synergy Lab work begins with awareness. And so that takes us to point 4. Teacher leaders need permission to lead. So, principals, you can say you want teacher leadership, but does your culture actually allow teachers to lead? Can they bring you an idea? Can they respectfully disagree with you? Can they solve problems without waiting for you? Can they try something and occasionally get it wrong? Have you created a safe space for things to not go perfectly? Because they won't. And remember our conversation about psychological safety. We had a whole episode on that. People cannot develop as leaders if they're afraid to make mistakes.
That's right. That is absolutely 100% correct. And what you have to be as a leader is cognizant of who you are and how you lead and how you respond to people. Because if you're walking around making people feel like they have to be on eggshells and can't make a mistake because you're side eyeing them, or you are making slick comments, you have to make sure that people know that you really aren't just giving lip service when you say I got you. You go for it. They know that they can, as Shika said, safely make a mistake that we will recover from. It's not going to be the end of the world. Not the best decision. Let's think about what we could have done differently. Not a scolding, because again, you're dealing with adults, and empowerment does not mean that there isn't a lack of accountability. It just means that you know how to deal respectfully with people, and you are holding them accountable, because we always have to have expectations. We always have to operate with systems. We always have to align the things that we're doing, but we cannot have guardrails without handcuffs. Give people clarity about the destination that we're going towards. Then, then develop their capacity to help us to get there. That is the goal when you are trying to move a school. And for us, we didn't have any choices, which is why we have point five. We have to move from the mentality of my school to our school. There has to be a shift even in the language that happens, especially when your culture is going to thrive. You begin hearing fewer statements like, well, that's the principal's initiative. That's administration's problem. That's above my pay grade. They're gonna have to fix that. Like that's not my lane. And you start hearing, well, what can we do? How are we going to work through this? How do we solve this problem? What do our kids need? And that's like music to an administrator's ears, honestly.
Absolutely, Tammy. That little word, our, is so powerful because when people feel ownership, and I think that I mentioned that when we were in Detroit, one of the biggest bangs for the buck is that agency, student and teacher agency, when they take that ownership,
Mm.
that is where you get your biggest bang for your buck, because when people feel ownership, accountability shifts, it changes. The principle is no longer dragging people towards the vision. People begin carrying the vision together, and that's synergy.
Yes, that is.
So that takes us to point six: build a leadership pipeline, not just a leadership team. So here's something else we want leaders to consider. Who are you developing for next? Who is the teacher who could become a department chair? Who is the department chair that could become an instructional coach? And who is the teacher leader who might become an assistant principal? Who is the assistant principal you are preparing to become the principal?
Mm. I love this. This is a passion for me. And this is the kind of work that honestly is just so intriguing because that really becomes the legacy that you leave whenever
Hmm.
you are no longer in a space. What did you do to cultivate somebody else to be that next thing, as you said, Shika, whatever that looks like? Because leadership development should not begin when a position becomes vacant. It should already be happening. A resilient organization develops people before it needs them. That means your leadership pipeline becomes part of your school improvement system.
Absolutely. And that real leadership check, are you cultivating synergy, means that leaders here, they have five quick questions that they can ask themselves, and they all go with the framework. Respect.
Yes.
Do I recognize the value, the expertise that is already in my building? Excellence. Am I developing people to perform at increasingly higher levels? Accountability. Have I created shared ownership for our results? Literacy. Do my leaders understand our data, our people, our culture, our systems well enough to make informed decisions? And leadership. And we got 1 minute left. Am I creating more leaders or simply more followers?
Honestly, because ultimately the measure of your leadership isn't how much people need you, it's how much capacity you've built in them. How the Synergy Lab helps develop leaders and teacher leaders.
Absolutely. And this is where we would love to come into your school or district to do this work with you and help you understand who you are as a leader, how you communicate, what strengths you bring, the triggers you may have, and how you respond under pressure, because that is what the Synergy Lab work is all about.
Yes, because you can teach leadership all day long. You can teach strategy, but if people don't understand themselves, don't understand each other, and they don't know how to work together, you're not going to get your ultimate results and you'll never achieve synergy.
Absolutely. So, your real reflection for this week, write down three names of people in your organization and ask yourself, what am I intentionally doing to develop them? How am I developing their capacity?
Yes, and what we're going to do is just leave you with a thought. A thriving school is not a school with one great leader, it's a school where leadership exists throughout the organization.
Absolutely. Make sure you tune in to Principal Kafele next. Tune in to Josh and Dr. Madi Moreno on Sunday on the PGP podcast, and right back here on Super Saturday, starting off with Principal Sean Hurt at 10 a.m. Yours truly, Create and Educate at 10:30, and the Leaders Mentor in the GOAT, Principal Kafele at 11. Have a real amazing Super Saturday, everyone.